Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Good day, my dear Bangsamoro learners. I hope that everyone is well despite of everything is going around on our Mother Earth. I am teacher Anirainie Baute Dimaporo from Sultan Angin Memorial National High School under Division of Lanao del Sur 1. For this session, come along with me in discovering new knowledge, new ideas, and new experiences in learning English 8. For today's video, we will be tackling up interpreting graphic representation found in expository text. In this video also, we will learn and explore new ideas about this graphic representation and most importantly is its role in our daily life. So, my Bangsamoro learners, are you ready to come along with me?
Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to the lesson proper, you have to know first what are the expected objectives from you at the end of this lesson. First is that you have to identify the different types of graphical representation. Next, you are expected to identify important elements found in tables, graphs, and information maps. And lastly, you are expected to make concrete discussion using the visual and verbal relationship of data presented in tables, graphs, and information maps. Now, for this moment, I have here some pictures to be shown to you. These are, first I have here a picture of a pie that shows an elements that composes of the earth, crust. Next is I have here a chart that shows a graph about the grade level achieved in each school year. And next one is I have here another graph that shows that shows a daily outcomes of the Philippines. And lastly is I have here a timetable that indicates every countries in the whole world. So what do you think these pictures are all about or related into? Okay, they are actually a sample of a graphical representation. So ladies and gentlemen, let us start learning what are these graphical representation talks about that can be found in an expository text. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think is the definition of expository text and what is it all about? Okay, an expository text is a type of text that gives reliable and factual information about a certain topic. It is usually comes with graphical representations to highlight the data or important data found in the article and to increase and strengthen the interpretation and learning of the reader. So, meaning an expository text are important data for you to use in coming up a graphical representations. These are the texts that you are going to use to come up and make a graphical representation out of the given data and details. It is also a text that is important in making a graphical representation for you to be able to go related into each other of what kind of graphical representation that are you going to make. So guys, what are the different types of graphical representation? Okay, now what are the different types of graphical representation that an individual can be used in order for her to have a graphics? First is we have here a bar graph, we have here a chart, we have here a columns or what we called a table, and lastly is we have a maps or what we called informational maps. So what do you think are these things are related into talked about and how are we going to use this in order for us to have a good graphical representation? So guys, listen to me. So ladies and gentlemen, the first graphical representation that we can have to use is a table. So what is a table talks to? A table is a visual representation of data or information in a rows and columns. So meaning, a table is a graphical representation wherein you are going to use a rows and a column wherein your details are being put into for you to be able to have a graphical representation using a table. So, for you to be able to make a table as your graphical representation, you have to bear in mind that the number of columns and the rows needed in your tables depends upon on the detail indicated on your expository text that you are going to use for you to have a graphical representation. So now, learners, take a look at this presentation shown. This is an example of a graphical representation using a table. This is a data of a Dato Umar National High School enrollment. So as you can see on the table shows the data on the remote enrollment of Dato Umar National High School by grade level and by grades. It can be noted that grade 10 has the biggest number of enrollees, while grade 7 has the smallest number of learners who enroll on a particular school year. Moreover, it can also be observed that on the table, there are more female learners compared to the male learners. So, by using this table as your graphical representation, it can clearly see, or you can clearly see the effect or the data or the differentiate the contrast and the comparison of the data that you have gathered which you use for your graphical representation.
Another type of graphical representation is a graph. A graph is a visual representation of information commonly shown through bars, lines, or slices. They are the most commonly called as bar graph, line graph, and a pie graph.
In a bar graph, using a bar graph as your graphical representation, they are mostly helpful when you want to show a relationship between series of different data that are independent to each other. So it means to say your data can be independent with each other wherein using the bar graph, you can clearly see the progress, the strength, the weakness of a particular data that you have used in your graphical representation. Now, my dear viewers, I have here an example of data coming from Sultan Nangin Memorial National High School of the grade 8 student enrollment using a bar graph for my graphical representation. So, in here, the bar graph shows the remote enrollment data of incoming grade 8 students of Sultan Nangin stage distribution. I have here an example to be shown to you. A data total number of medals during the SEA Games received by the participants. We will be using the pie chart. So in here, the pie chart shows the map, the total medal distribution of Philippines during the SEA Games. As you can see, there were 149 gold medals received by the participants. There are 117 silver medals, and lastly, we have 121 bronze medals distributed by our country during the SEA Games. So, it is clearly shown that we have a lot of gold medals received during the SEA Games compared to the silver and the bronze medal. Next part is another graphical representation of the expository text is an informative map. Now, what is this informative map? Informative maps are visual organizers that show relationship and connection between information, concept, and ideas. Informative maps are also called as graphic organizer. You have to take note that informative map is something like a graphic organizer. This is not the usual maps where the directions and times is being indicated. So let me show you an example for this kind of graphical representation. I have here an example of a graphical representation using an informational maps. So in here, you can see a center oval which talks about the main idea or the main topic that you are given for your presentation. And next one is we have 5 outside ovals which talks about or related of your subtopics from your main topics. So in here, at the center oval is a famous tourist spots in Bangkok, Thailand. And the outside 5 ovals talks about the places of the famous tourist spots found in Bangkok, Thailand. So the above concept map show the famous tourist spot in Bangkok, Thailand. These are 5 famous tourist spots found in Bangkok, Thailand. These are, the first is the Grand Palace, the Pratunan Market, the Ekosiam, the Wat Pho Temple, and the Chao Phraya River. So these are the most 5 visited tourist spots located in Bangkok, Thailand.
That's it, my dear Bangsamoro learners. That is all about the discussion for interpreting a graphical representation found in an expository text. But you have to bear in mind that in interpreting a graphical representation, it is not easy as plotting an on-the-spot manner of way in giving meaning and conclusion to the representation of the given text. It must have to be valid, correct, and accurate. There are actually 5 guidelines in giving a representation on a graphics provided with a text. Now, what are the steps in reading graphical representations? The first step in reading a graphical representation is, first, scan and read the title, heading, or caption to recognize the entries being compared. It means you have to read and scan for analyzation of the title, the heading, and the caption from the given text that you are going to make a graphical representation with. Next, pay attention to each label and legend to identify the specific object being compared, meaning you have to give attention if the label and the legend must have to coincide with each other and where are you going to put them in making your graphical representation.
The third one is, when reading the text, identify its purpose before scrutinizing the tables, graphs, and maps. It means to say that when you are reading the text, as you are reading it, you have to identify where are those details you are going to put them in making your tables, graphs, or maps so that your text and your graphical representation is aligned and coincide with each other in your making a graphical representation. The fourth step is use the purpose set before the text and look at the specific areas of the tables, graphs, and maps. It means to say that in setting the purpose of the given text, you have to identify where is the main topic, subtopics, and those other details that you are going to put in your graphical representation making. The last step is that reread the section of the text that refers to the graphs to validate the correctness of the data. Meaning, after you scrutinize, prepare your graphical representation, if it is a table, a graph, or a maps, you have to proofread your finished product or output in order for you to validate that the content of your expository text and the details from your graphical representation are aligned with each other, if they are correct and they are coordinate with details in each.
Moreover, with the help of those guidelines mentioned above, you have to bear in mind also that the data must have to be coincide with the representation that you have in the text. It must have to be coincide with detail to detailed. With those guidelines mentioned above, you have to keep in mind that the expository text and your graphical representation must have to coincide with each other, considering the details into details. Learners, do you know the various importance and benefits of this graphic representation to your readers? Now, listen to me very carefully as I am giving you the importance of graphic representation to the life of every individual.
What is the impact of this various graphical representation to the readers? Now, ladies and gentlemen, the importance of graphic representation to your audience is that it provides an easy, organized, and unique way of presenting large amount of data to be presented in just one space or in a lengthy article. Also, readers will benefit from these graphics because it will provide a clearer picture of the things that text want to convey to your audience by using this graphic representation.
At this point, my dear Bangsamoro learners, I do hope that you learned something from me from my discussion of interpreting a graphic representation found in an expository text. I do wish that it will help you and support you in understanding more about graphical representation found in an expository text with its proper use. I am deeply into faith that I provided you a clear view or picture and point of view of the topic that we have discussed for this video. That is the graphic representation found in an expository text. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hold hands together and also hold our hands high above as a prayers that sooner or later we will recover from the scenario and the pandemic that we are in right now around the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, see you again on my next video to be uploaded for the new lesson and learning to discover with. Once again, my dear Bangsamoro learners and the viewers for this video, my name is Teacher Raini or Anirainie Baute di Maporo from Sultan Nangin Memorial National High School under Division 1. Again, I am Teacher Rainey at your service. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Kapit bisig mga kawang sa moro.